Welcome to the Jon Harrison Podcast. Statistics show us that about 70% of people are disengaged in the workplace. Obviously, that affects bottom lines of companies, individual, their own engagement at work, but also affects families and communities. We don't want to just be frustrated about things that are going on in the workplace or in the world. We want to do something about it. So we're going to talk about this while others aren't, and we hope you will join us on this journey.
Welcome back to the Jon Harrison Podcast. This is Madeline Baker, and we have a special guest with us today. We have Saundra from WaterTech. She's the Director of HR. And of course, Melissa and Jason are here. Jon is traveling, so he's not joining us today. So he will be missed. But we are so excited to have Saundra because we're talking on this episode about the red flags of a bad hire. And she's been in the HR field a very long time, and she was just telling us all about her job, and I could just hear the passion in your voice, Saundra. So I'm very eager to hear all the things that, experiences that you've had and just the things that you've learned. So we're going to kind of talk about what to watch for in interviews, and then also early onboarding, and we've got another fun episode after this one that we're going to be doing, talking a little bit more about onboarding and red flags there too. Saundra, do you want to just kick us off with telling us a little bit about what you do at WaterTech and how long you've been in the field?
Absolutely. Good morning. My name is Saundra Cooksey. I'm the Director of HR at WaterTech Incorporated. We're corporately based in Fort Smith, Arkansas. I've been with the company since 2022. I've been in the field for probably 30 years or so, doing various things. Mm-hmm. I'm passionate about HR, like you said earlier. I love my job. I really love helping people. I want to pick the right persons for our jobs at WaterTech. I think that's very key. We have such a low turnover rate. It's about 1%.
That's
because
amazing.
People find their work home with us. We want to be their work home, and we really take onboarding, to the next level, and that does prevent the turnover. I really believe that that's key in our success. And I love that. I have a great partner. She works with me, Taylor Salazar. She's my benefits manager, but we both take a hand in onboarding. It's very important that we spend time with the employees prior to the hire. And during that time, our hiring process is great. We actually do a day and a half of orientation. We really spend the time. So day one is all about HR, to the point that we schedule lunch with the hiring manager, the HR team, our president, CEO, as well as our COO, the vice president of operations, and every person that will be directly affected with this new hire. Mm-hmm. We all go to lunch. Wow. We take the person to lunch. The person is not a number at WaterTech. We know them by their first name. Mm-hmm. We get that time alone. We take them to lunch, we sit, we talk, we laugh, we get to know them on a personal level. Mm-hmm. And I think that matters. Yeah. I've had a lot of people say, I've never been to lunch with the president, right, the COO. Right. What an exciting day. And I said, it is an exciting day because they will come and see you at your job. They will come out and say, hello, pat you on the back. Mm-hmm. How's your day? And call you by your name. Absolutely. Day two, we feel it's very important. They get a half a day of safety training with our safety team. Okay. We think that's very important. Then they'll go to lunch. Then that afternoon, they're going to go back to their supervisor and start their work. But I do feel like it's really important. We do like a 3, 6, 9 week touch-up. Okay. The supervisor does that with each employee to make sure that they're learning. Mm-hmm. Are you learning? Are you grasping what we're teaching you? Mm-hmm. How do you feel about your new job? Okay. And those kinds of things. And then at the end of that, we do a 90-day evaluation. And then we say, okay, here we are. How's it going? Let's do another touch base with you. And the supervisor takes the time to sit down. They have a trainer that works with them this entire time. And it's very important. And we think that's one of the keys to our success.
I would say so. I mean, with 1% turnover, that's huge.
It is huge. Yeah. People do find their work home with us. We have a lot of people, new hires that come on board, and they're like, I want to be here until I retire. And I said, that's why we hired you. Mm-hmm. We want you to be here until you retire. This grows our business. Mm-hmm. And you're going to learn from the more tenured people who've been here. Right. And you're going to learn that. And then you're going to take us into the next century. Mm-hmm. We want that growth. We want to have our name out there for many, many years to come. And this is the key to doing that, is finding that right person.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And like you said, you have a robust hiring process too, going into this. So whenever you are in those interviews, like how many do they usually go through? A few interviews? Do they talk to a couple people?
It varies. Yes, ma'am. It varies. We definitely, sometimes we get a lot of people who want to come on board. We're well known in our area. Basically, some jobs people want to stand in line for. They're waiting to come on. They know us in town, and they're like, "Oh, we're excited to be able to have the opportunity to come there." Yeah. Some jobs we interview several. Some are many. I mean, it just depends until we kind of wheedle them down. But our business is a certain sector. We are a chemical company. We chemically treat water, so we want people who have knowledge, experience that really matters in what we do. Safety is priority. And number one, we want you to be safe at work. We want you to come to work with all your digits and leave with all of them. So that's very important to us. And we want you to go back healthy to your family. But at the top of it, we want the right candidate. And that takes spending time, calling them on the phone, going through the resumes, and actually bringing people in. And you can tell sometimes if it's just nervousness, you can tell that, or if they're not experienced, or if they have that burning desire to learn and you're willing to invest that time. We're willing to invest that time in someone if we get the right person. And we're happy to do that because that's important to us. That person can come on board. There's opportunities for growth. They can climb the ladder. They can do the certain things that they want to do in their career. And we think we can fulfill that at WaterTech.
Yeah, definitely.
So before we got started on the podcast, Saundra, we were just having kind of a casual conversation around the table, very similar to what we are now. But we talked about kind of the BS meter, right? When you're doing interviews. And we were laughing and chuckling about that, right? But it's a real thing.
But it is a real thing.
And so with interviewing, and I see that you brought the culture guide from WaterTech. Talk about just a little bit, if you would, how you use that meter, how you interpret red flags in an interview, how you decide bumping that up against your culture guide. Talk about some of that, if you would, a little
absolutely. We believe in our culture guide as we partnered with you guys to actually get our culture guide in motion. We love that. We share that with every person who comes in the door. And actually, that's my lead off. Here at WaterTech, we have a strong culture, and we want you to be part of that. But here's an example of what our culture really is. And we want to ensure that you're going to be the right fit for us. And we want to be the right fit for you too. But here's an example of our culture. Here's what we expect. Here's what we're going to give you in return. You can tell when someone's absorbing that information as you are speaking to them, if they're really listening, if they're being engaged, do they have good eye contact, and have they overstated their expertise on their resume. You can start, as you go down the line, you can kind of see those red flags. If they're shifty, if they don't want to meet your gaze, if they're doing certain things like that, or they don't want to tell you why they left a job, that's huge. That's huge, because did they leave on bad terms? They don't want to tell you why. And I don't want to pry too much, but I do want honesty. And if someone can be honest with me and say, you know what, I messed up. I shouldn't have. I now see it in retrospect. I will accept that. Everyone makes mistakes. No one's perfect, but we can work with it if we know, if we're being honest. So there are certain things we can really pick up on, and I think that that's key in really making a good hire.
So some of those things that you talked about are I will call kind of general in nature, right? It's what we do out of the nature of interviewing. But when you're talking about your values and your core values with an applicant, how do you assess alignment there specifically? Are there certain questions that you ask, or how do you know if they align with your values?
Through conversation, basically. We're gonna tell them, this is our culture. This is what your job would entail if you're chosen, or if you're selected. We do say those words. If you're chosen, if you're selected, these will be your job responsibilities. How do you feel like your experience aligns with this job that you're applying to? How do you feel like you could best serve WaterTech? Tell us your passion. Tell us how you feel like you could best help the company. We have the tools to help you. We want to see what you have in return. We want that value add. Give us that value add that puts you to the top. That puts you to the top of our selection. You know, and then we, as a team, once we've interviewed everybody, we come back together and say, okay, here are the applicants. Which one do you think? And in your mind, you personally feel like, okay, I've got these one or two picked for this reasons or not. And usually the supervisor is pretty much in line because they sat there, we went through it, we talked about each interviewee afterwards before we proceed to the next one as a team. And I think that's very important.
Yeah, having those roundtable discussions and kind of scoring them on the pieces that are very important, right? And that scoreboard, so to speak, can be very simple, if you will, but you're looking at things like their drive, their passion, their commitment to excellence.
100%.
All of those pieces that align or don't align with your values, perhaps. I'm curious, like, have you ever had a situation where maybe they're sharing a story and then later in the interview it comes up again and like there's maybe an inconsistency in the story?
Yes, I have had that happen, and a person was really wanting out of their job. They were desperate to leave their job, and they were wanting to come on board, but then we figured out, quite frankly, that they were just there to get out of the other job. They didn't really care what the job was. They were willing to jump on board just to be rescued. And we're not there to be a rescuer, so to speak. We're there, like, again, back to that value add. We are searching for a qualified individual who wants to have a work home. We want you to be fully vested with us, have that partnership with us to carry us on through the next. We have wonderful people. I call it the sister and the brotherhood. And I'll say it till the end. We have the secret sauce. We have the secret sauce at WaterTech. And our president CEO, he says, you know, I have cloned what she is saying. And, you know, she's right. We do have the secret sauce. We do things differently here. It makes people want to come to work. You know that old saying, if you do something you enjoy, you'll never work a day in your life. We come to work on fire. We love our job. We come to work on fire. And I hope other people can see that.
I love it. You're making me want to go work.
Sign me up. That's what we want. We want people to be on fire. Share that passion. We know it gives me goosebumps to talk about it. It's that exciting to us.
Yeah. Well,
And
that
we
term you use, work home, that really kind of says it, you know, because we talk about in our sessions a lot that companies try to sell the fact that they're a family environment, right? Well, while that's a good thing, we still have a business to run.
Absolutely.
We still have expectations. We still have to watch for hazards and struggles, or if someone's not meeting the expectation in their performance, whether it's overall performance and results or whether it's the behaviors that
That's right.
either uplift or possibly tear down our culture and our environment.
Yeah.
So, but work home is a great place. I love that term because even at home, right, we struggle with the same things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The alignment and what the expectations
Well,
are.
and family and sisterhood, brotherhood, you have issues in families and with
100%.
sisters and brothers, but that doesn't mean, you know, at the end of the day, you're there for a common goal.
That's right.
And you
That's
just
right.
come together and unite for that goal. And
We work through it.
yeah.
You know, one thing at WaterTech, I will say, we never say that's not my job. We never say that because you know what? It doesn't matter if we are having a hot dog cookout. It doesn't matter if we have, you know, executives coming from one of our customers to come and visit. That terminology is never used there. We all jump together and we make it happen. Make it happen. That's at the end of the day. Let's make it happen. Let's make it wonderful. And it takes everybody. And I tell the new hires, it takes every cog on the wheel to make this thing roll. It really does. Because my expertise or the next person's expertise or even the next, it takes all of that to come together. Every background, every experience, you know, and we have an open door policy at WaterTech, and if you have a new idea, we want to hear it. Because what if we're doing something that we could improve upon?
Right.
We want to hear from the employee, hey, you know what? I did something similar to this in my past, and I'd like to share it with you. Whether it's going to work or not, maybe we can pull some of it together, and if it makes us more cost efficient, more productivity or something like that, save money, we're looking for those ideas. We want to hear. And we're willing to sit down and listen, whether that's the supervisor, HR, our president, CEO, or our COO, our VPs, they're all willing to listen. Because that is where the rubber meets the road. Hey, you know what? We've got an employee here. They're thinking.
Right.
They're thinking while they're doing their job.
Yes.
And man, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Critical thinking skills are something that you
can't buy it.
You can't buy it. That's right. Yeah. But also it's something that I think we're all born with to a certain degree, but some more than others can hone that skill differently based on their personality, whether they like technical work, whether they like problem solving or not. And I think recognizing that as you go down that path, all the way from the beginning, right, in the interview process, all the way through onboarding, you begin to see that. And then if they raise their hand and say, hey, I've got an idea, I'd like to share that, it shows that not only do they care, but also they just think differently. And being able to recognize that as a leader or an HR person or, and being able to plug and play those skills appropriately can help an organization on a completely different level. It's the different hearts and minds around the table that we talk about, right?
Yes, 100%.
And that's what Jon talks about in the VIP leadership. He talks about, for the leaders, don't shut people down when they have ideas. Because if you do that once, one time, they will never bring you another idea.
And
right?
that's right. And we want to hear it. We're going to listen. We're going to listen. And we believe in sending our teammates to Jon Harrison. We love that. In fact, there's one coming around the corner, and we have several seats taken there. Good. We love that. We want to get everyone through who is, a supervisor, new supervisor, a manager. We think it's very important. And we have such a huge amount of people now. We're growing, but we want to get all of them refreshed at least every 3 years, because it's going to take us that long, to get some people through, But we love that interaction. I love it when the people come back and say, Saundra, that was the best class. When can I go again? And that has happened. I love it. Awesome. I love it. We support it. We love it. We believe in it. We use it. We use those tools, and everyone's happy when they come back. They come back ignited. They come back and their fire's burning even hotter. Yes. You know what? And that's what it's about. Mm-hmm. Give me something. I mean, sometimes we feel that we are honed in. We're going down our tunnel, and gosh, all we see is work piling up, And then you get a break, and you're like, okay, I'm going to the Jon Harrison class. Yeah, I'm going to come back, even though my desk is piled up. I'm coming back, but man, I'm on fire because I just got my fuse relit. Yes. I'm re-energized, and I love that. Mm-hmm. I love when people come back and say, you know what, I had a wonderful time. Thank you. When can I go again? Yeah, and I love that warms my heart. I love it because we're believers, and we just have that again, it goes back to culture, and every person that we talk to, new hire, even people who are still there after a long period of time, they'll say, it's in our culture, and they'll lead in with that. Wow. It's our culture.
That's cool.
And that means a lot. If you've ever been to WaterTech's corporate office, you'll see a bunch of words on the wall, right? Mm-hmm. All the employees came up with the words on the wall. Oh, wow. And that's impressive to people. Mm-hmm. They come in, visitors come in, and the receptionist will call, Miss Saundra, you have somebody up here in the lobby. They're waiting for you for your appointment. Yes, ma'am, be right there. I come up there, and they're standing around the wall. They're looking at the words. Yes, yeah. Courage, respect, all of these wonderful words that are on the wall. And they're up there searching through the words, and they turn around, and there's a smile on their face. Yes. When they walk in the door, they get that sense of, oh my gosh, I've just walked into another world, because it's wonderful. Yes. They get that vibe when they first walk in. Yeah. Hey, this is different.
Yeah, you actually just said two things that we talk about at very important points in our session, and that is the words on the wall. Yeah. A lot of people think that's faux pas or cheesy or, not necessary and not needed. But it's not just the words on the wall, it's what you do with them and how you live them out, and whether or not the organization and each individual in the company feels that. And I really think in your secret sauce, as you say, that's really what y'all have captured. You know how to do that, and you do that through action, you do that through words, you do that through respect and teamwork, you do that through the onboarding process and the interviewing process, and you make that known to them that it's not just words on the wall.
That's right.
So I just really love that.
And part of, you talking about them coming through the training and then going back on fire, like, it's so good to hear that, and you're so on fire for the culture, and the culture is so great there that we're sending them back to a place where they're going to be supported, and that y'all understand all of, the expectations and the things that they were trained on. Because we hear so many leaders that, they come through maybe 1 or 2 from a company, and then it's like they're going back and they're not feeling supported, but they're so on fire, and they're like, these concepts are so great, and like, we need to change our culture. And so it is so good to hear that, they come back and they're, because we really try to say, we're not going to hold your hand. We're going to give you all the tools, and we're going to provide as many outside resources. We've started doing the roundtables to support leaders for people who've gone through, and we're trying to do that, but we can't promise that we're going to hold your hand, because you do have to take accountability and do it yourself, and work with your teams. And so it sounds like you've already got such a great basis there that they can come back and stay on fire.
Well, the fact that you guys are living it out, and they experience all of that in the water tech way. And then you send them through VIP leadership, right? And it could be 6 months to 12 months down the road before they even come through the training. But the fact that they come back from the training and they go, oh, wow, we're not checking all the boxes, but I can connect dots. Absolutely. I understand and I see why you guys are doing what you're doing, and it makes total sense. Yes. All we did was just package it in such a way that makes sense. And, Jon created the 9 expectations and the process of the VIP way and how all that's tied together. But you guys are doing it. You're living it out, and you were doing it before Jon Harrison.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I do believe that. Right. I believe that because we just celebrated 35 years in business, and we had a great hot dog cookout. We gave everyone a shirt that celebrating 35 years, because you know what? That's something to celebrate. That's a big deal. Yes. But to your point earlier, I'm telling you, Melissa, it means a lot, because the Jon Harrison aligns with WaterTech in the fact that it's relatable information. Those are our managers. They pull something out. Each one of them pulls something out different that strikes a chord. They bring it back to their team. They share it with not only their manager, but they share it with their teammates. It gives me goosebumps. Yeah. We love it. I love seeing it working. But I can give you an example of culture and having someone come back and say, thank you for hiring me, because they came from a culture where they weren't supported. They were told we're family oriented. My kids are sick. I needed to be home, and just needing that, half a day sick time. But they weren't supported. And you tell someone who's came from a poor culture of no support, of being on an island, you get those people in the door, and it's almost like they have PTSD. They're like, oh, for sure. They're hearing me say it, but you know what? Proof's in the pudding, folks. Right. And when we get them there, they see it, they know it's different, they feel it from their teammate. Then there comes a person's head poking in my door, and they say, I'm so glad I got to come to WaterTech. Thank you for hiring me. Thank you for picking me, because I now see what you said. You were right. Right. But we couldn't just say it. We had to prove it through our actions. That's where it's at. We proved to them we do have a different culture. We want you to be here. We wouldn't have selected you. That is where it matters. Yes. And when I get that, I don't have to be thanked in my job. And sometimes it is thankless, but those little moments when that comes from the heart, and someone takes a minute out of their day to come and say thank you, I could have, that's great. That to me, that's a win. Yeah,
that fills your water bottle, doesn't it?
It does, and it overflows it. Yes, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, that's good.
Like I said, I don't have to be thanked, but if they're thinking on it and they come, 1 minute of their time and they walk down the hall, hey, I'm just so thankful. Thank you. Thank you. And that to me that's beautiful. I love it.
It's so good. Well, before we end this episode, I really do want to talk about, and this is more on the negative side, but if you do within the first 90 days, you hire somebody, you start realizing, okay, maybe they weren't super consistent in those, or they weren't fully honest and their skill set isn't where we needed it to be, or their values are not aligning. Termination is always an option if it gets to that point, but that may not be the first thing you jump to. Right. So what are kind of the steps to take within those first 90 days? What do you put in place? I know you say you have check-ins, right?
We do. We have a 3-week, a 6-week, and a 9-week check-in that we try to do. That's the supervisor sitting down with the employee. What do you like about your job? Do you feel like you're learning? Are you enjoying it here? Yeah. What do you think about, your work here? What do you think about it? And we're going to pick up on some flags. We're going to see real quick if they're going to be a team player. We're looking for team players.
Yes.
And, we're going to notice that supervisor by week 1, 2, 3, they're already checking in with me, or I'm checking in with them. Hey, how's it going? Yeah. Are things progressing well? Did we make a good hire? Yeah. How's this working out? So we are in constant contact with our manager, our hiring manager, so that we know, hey, how are we doing? Let's just take the temperature of the group. Let's take the temperature of the new employee and the manager, just to see if someone really just isn't getting it. If what we're doing, it matters. People could be hurt. Yeah. I mean, it's serious. And we don't want that to happen. But if someone's just not enjoying it, if they're just not clicking, it's just not sinking in, and they don't feel like, we're going to catch that in the next few weeks. We're going to try to rehabilitate all we can do.
Yes.
And we do that as we go along. We don't wait till it festers at the end. Oh, I'm sorry, you're not cutting it. No, we've already, in this 3, 6, 9, and 90-day period, we're already trying to rehabilitate the person to see if there's anything salvageable. If there isn't, then we're going to part ways. Okay. Because then at that point, we don't like to see anyone ever lose their job. Right. But if they're not happy, if they're creating a cancer in our environment, we don't want that either.
Yeah, I know a lot of companies have like a formal 90-day probationary period, and some people advertise or communicate that, and that's fine. But what a lot of people don't realize is you can even avoid having a 90-day probationary period if you have these conversations in place. If you're already doing it, then you've got a pulse on it. And you're going to know through that rehabilitation or retraining or having another conversation about safety awareness or whatever the case may be, you're going to know through those conversations whether or not that person's invested. 100%. And if they're not invested, they're not changing their behaviors, their performance is not improving in any way, you're going to know that. So it kind of cancels out the 90-day probationary period, if you will. But again, it takes time. So I think I remember having this conversation with you before, Saundra, but in terms of accountability with supervisors through that 3-week, 6-week, 9-week conversation, how do you ensure accountability that those things are happening?
As far as the supervisor contacting?
Yeah, with the supervisor and the new hire. How do you know that's happening?
Well, because we have a formal documentation. We have forms written out with certain questions on it at each week, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 9 weeks. Okay. Those questions are varied. So we're taking a temperature every time there's a check-in. But that manager's spending time, quality time on the daily with that employee. Those are just hard stops, so to speak, to let us know, how are things going? Hey, just checking in. They turn the paperwork into me. But by this point, I've already checked in. We know kind of where we're trending. Are we trending, upward? Are we trending, just mediocrity? Or are we going down? So we kind of know, and we have a picture, but that just doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, I mean, which is so good to hear.
We don't miss it very much, and because we think also word of mouth is very very prominent in what we do. So, hey, if someone knows somebody, hey, I know of somebody and somebody else, and we get wind of that. They have wonderful experience. They've moved recently. They're coming into town. Is there an opportunity? Anything like that. We want to at least talk to them to see if it's a good fit.
And to kind of circle back to the very beginning of our conversation, you talk to them about all of this
Absolutely.
in the interviewing process.
Right.
Yes.
So there's like no surprises,
Right.
which there shouldn't be.
There's no surprise about how we live our culture. People can talk about it all day long, but you got to walk the walk, right?
Yep.
And that's where it is. And we feel like we do that well there. We feel like we're A+. I mean, do we hit it right every single time? No, because we're human.
Right.
But do we strive 100% every time? We think we do. We think we got it.
Yeah.
Well, Saundra, I've really loved the conversation. Truly, I have. I'm just honored. We're actually at my house here in Conway having this podcast, which is kind of different for us. But since Jon is traveling, but you traveled down for Fort Smith for this, and I just really appreciate it. You are a very warm and dear person to me, and I just really am thankful for the opportunity to our paths to cross and get to know each other like we have. So thank you so much for being here and being a part of this podcast. And Madeline, I'll just kind of let you wrap us up here.
Yes, seriously. Thank you so much. And y'all are going to get a little bit more of her because we're about to record another episode here, a little bit more about onboarding. But seriously, thank you for being here. And I hope that the listeners got some insights from this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Well, it's been a complete honor. I love it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us today on the Jon Harrison Podcast. As you know, we believe that a positive work culture creates a ripple effect that extends into families and communities. If you found anything of value in today's episode, please share it with somebody so they can hear it as well. And if you have questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, please fill out the form below.